This video has been a long time coming. My apologies for taking so long. But what I'm going to discuss in this video took a long time. And it's still not quite done, but it's done enough that now is the time for me to make this public. To my YouTube audience first. By the time it hits the television audience, for you it'll be too late if you don't make a decision. And I'll show you what I'm talking about in a second. Television audience is pretty well off, or they seem to be better off than some of my YouTube audience. For those of you who have the mentality, I want to save your time right now. If you have the mentality that the rapture's imminent, that you're going to be taken away, nothing bad's going to happen, that you're not going to see what I'm about to describe, you're not going to see what I'm about to describe, nothing bad's going to happen to you, God's just going to protect you, you don't need to prepare, even though there's numerous scriptures that show otherwise. If this is your mentality, then you should turn this video off right now. I just want to save you your time. Don't watch this video. This is not for you, okay? But if you're of the mentality that you understand we are going to go through hell on earth, that you're going to get to see war, which is also hell. War is hell. That's what Jesus said is going to happen. I know some of you are looking for an asteroid. Some of you are looking for volcanoes to go off. Some of you are looking for aliens. If you're looking for those, none of that's going to happen, folks. We are going to experience war. America is going to experience war. You shall see it. Now, to some of you, it may just be for a split second, a bright light and rumble and that kind of thing, and then it'll be over with. I know some of you don't believe that. And again, if you don't believe you're going to see it, then don't listen to this video. Turn it off and go watch something else. For those of you that believe A.A. Allen and what he saw, missiles coming out of the water going into America, interceptor missiles going up there attempting to hit the missiles coming into America, which wasn't even a concept, much less an ability to do it. If you believe what David Wilkerson said, God, in 1 hour, God's going to melt America. A hydrogen holocaust. He said, and set the trumpet to thy mouth. If you believe that, then you're going to want to watch this video. And you're going to see it. David Wilkerson said, few will escape. I want to discuss that part. And there is a way to escape if you listen to what I'm going to tell you. And you need to listen kind of carefully. I know some of you are going to badmouth because it doesn't matter what I do, no matter how much I've done, no matter how much sweat and tears this has cost me and my family, no matter how much money this has cost, and I have no hope on getting even the majority of it back, which I'll discuss. Some of you still will have a problem, and again, you will not receive any help from me. Those of you that think like that. In fact, many of you that think like that, you need to look in the mirror. Some of you are the biggest hypocrites. I know no other pastor, of course you don't have a pastor, you that talk like this. If you did, I grew up, and when I grew up, I had a pastor that knew how to rebuke me. Knew how to tell me the way it was. Some of you have never even set foot in a church. Danny Davis saw America. Death and destruction coast to coast. He saw the effects of what we attempted to allude to were nukes coming down on cities that were completely destroyed. He saw the effects, weather patterns resembling that of a nuclear winter. Again, what these other prophets have seen. What John Paul Jackson said, he saw children praying away radiation from cities. Radiated cities. Asteroids don't do radiation. Aliens. This is some of the least you have to worry about. Look at what Jesus said would occur. War. And rumors of war. and lawlessness. Like we're seeing the seeds already we're seeing it has happened right now. This is what you get to expect. Like John Paul Jackson saw, entire neighborhoods is being burned down from those that remained. Having their Robin Hood mentality, what's yours is mine, and just burning down neighborhoods. Danny Davis mentioned to me one time, he said, look at America. In fact, I'll probably put a map up. If you took a map of America and drew right down the middle and went eastward, that entire area is going to be scorched, is what he said. Now, I've seen it as a barren desert. I've used the word wasteland. He used the word back to me, wasteland. My ears perked right up the day he did that. Only because I understood kind of what he's seeing. And I've tried to portray what that means. Again, and why? Because the entire the majority of people in America, now there's some on the West Coast, yeah, but it's mostly along the coastline. And then you got this darkened area. There was not a lot of people at all, which is the area I'm in. And then you just go eastward. Again, right down the middle of it. And what do you got? You got the entire populace of most of America. I love my coffee always makes me, and I've had quite a bit. Then I don't want it anymore. Always makes me want to burp. Anyway, so that's where the populace is in America. And that's also where I could probably do a map again, probably find a map. All the nuclear reactors are this direction. Nuclear power plants. They're just everywhere. So if you take out the electricity, these backup generators only go so long on these nuclear power plants. You drop some nukes down, and you're going to have a scorched East Coast. And for those of you that aren't cities that aren't going to be hit by first trumpet, because that's what first trumpet is. It's not aliens. It's not an asteroid. That doesn't create radiation, folks. These nuclear power plants and the radiation is going to be on that side. I don't care if you were in a city or not, there's still going to be chaos. You're going to want to get out of the city. You're going to want to get away from where you are. Anywhere will be better than staying and dying a slow death with radiation going through these cities and going through the East Coast. Rick Wiles, who had an open vision, you guys probably don't know who he is. He had an open vision. He said he was describing an open vision. I don't know if he called it this, but that is what it is. He saw like a television set type screen, and he saw that this one city looked like it had been through a war zone, just destroyed. I don't remember if he said fire or whatever. I don't know that it even matters. But all he saw was people coming out of the city in droves. They looked like they'd been through a war, and their heads were down. They were just totally beaten, destroyed, kind of. That's what he was saying. That's how he described his vision. And they were just exiting the city. No place really to go, but anywhere but the city. And I'm going to say that's what's going to happen to the East Coast. Nowhere really to go but exiting the East Coast unless you just want to die a slow death. That either via the radiation or that either via these mobs that will be there that won't care. That's where we're headed. Into chaos and nonsense. Now I know some of you don't know how to do that. The modern age we live in today, we have to have this all planned out ahead of time, right? And I guess I get that, but we have to know where we're going, or what are we going to get when we get there? How much is this going to cost? It's coming a point in time, and it won't be long from now. Your money will mean nothing. Your money's going to be pointless. I would recommend to some of you listen to me, folks. I know you don't. Some of you believe completely different, and yet you haven't paid too much attention to what Jesus said when he said, "Go out and sell what you have and buy a sword." That's what Jesus said. He wasn't kidding either, folks. Well, I don't think he didn't go ha 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 after that. I mean, he meant it. Sell what you have and buy a sword. Now, some of you don't know how to understand this, and it just because you've been preached as turn the other cheek, and yet Jesus' disciples carried swords. Yes, they carried swords, folks. In fact, I'm going to put a video up there right for you. It's on preparation and preparing yourself. And I only talked about a little bit of the scriptures, even though I went quite a while in it. But I addressed the turning of the cheek and the mentality that's behind the church. And I wanted to address that more than give you numerous scriptures on why the sword is there. And I would say this, I would get myself a gun. Get a gun. That's the equivalent of a sword, folks. Now I know some of you just fine. Please do yourself a favor. Watch the video. You're going to find out the place I'm going to have is going to have police, which even Paul talked about. These are God's ministers for good. That's what Paul said. He beareth not the sword in vain. Today we bear guns. We don't bear swords. But it's meant for protection. And what I was starting to say is a gun to protect yourself will become more valuable than certainly than a home. I know you can't imagine that, especially when a home that you're going to stay in probably going to be destroyed anyway. But everything man has built, according to Danny, everything man had built was either burnt down or destroyed. Do you remember that? Coast to coast. You can't fathom this stuff, folks. You're not ready for any of this. But a gun can keep your home or can take your home. A gun can keep your food or take your food. A gun can keep you alive or take your life. That's how valuable. One of the most important things you're going to want is a sword. Not a samurai sword or anything, and it's not there to look cool. It's just there for protection, which is why the disciples carried him. Yeah, Peter used it the wrong way, I admit. But Jesus didn't say, get rid of your sword. We had a sword. Where did the sword come from? No, he told them to go out and buy one. And they went out and bought them. Just saying, that's not what this video is about. I'm not here to talk about. I'm just telling you, sometimes our priorities are so backwards, we're not ready for anything. And a gun will protect you from having somebody come up and kill you, torture your family, do what they want with your family. And it's going to happen. Maybe not to your family, yours, but it will happen. People are going to, according to Daniel, are going to be taken into captivity as slaves. That's what ISIS was doing. Did you know that? Taking the women and children that they preferred, if they didn't kill them, they took some in as slaves and did what they want. I don't want to even talk about it. That's Islam. And if you watched my last television show, that's where we're headed. And I didn't even scratch the surface. Oh, I still got a long list that I want to go through of what Islam is. We're all looking for some other. I don't want to get into this. Islam is going to be the beast. Islam is the religion behind where we're going. They want to conquer. Anyway, back to where I was. When I was about 20 years old, God started giving me all these things about what was going to happen in the end. And I knew in the end, back then, that I would wind up in the islands somewhere in the end. I didn't know why I'd hit the islands. Didn't make any sense to me. But I knew I would. I also knew in the interim I wanted a place of refuge. I kept seeing that I wanted a place away from everybody, a place that nobody could find, that nobody saw visually. And I thought it'd be like in the mountains somewhere. And then about the age of 40, when my life had changed and I was doing very, very well, and it had to do with my giving, God eventually changed my life. I've talked a little bit about this. When you become a minister and you go into ministry full time, you're not in the business world anymore. God then puts you and makes you a minister, and then you become dependent upon the body to support the ministry. It reverses completely. John Paul Jackson talked quite a bit about his testimony. Same thing. You're doing very, very well, and all of a sudden God puts you in the ministry full time. You have no more business income anymore. But at that point, I was in the business world, and I was doing very, very well, making millions. And I got to keep about $5 million a year to myself. It was amazing. Government took about half of it, but that was all my own money. And I bought this place. God put this place in my lap. 80 acres, bought it. It's on a mountain. I own a mountain now. I don't owe a payment to the government. I don't owe anybody any money at all. This became my property. So I bought 80 acres, put a home down on it, paid for that outright. So this place is mine. Nobody can take it from me. Unless they want to try, to physically take it from me, and that'll be fun. Which I'm not going to let that happen. Might as well give you a brief moment. This place is going to have police. There will be police here bearing guns who bear not the sword in vain. They are going to be God's ministers for good, and they will protect the people that will be here. Got it? That's what will be on my property. Protecting those who are here. Another portion of safety, and I recommend get yourself a handgun or something. I made sure I'm going to have a force. We got something to the tune of about 20 guns here, and I'm not kidding. I know some of you think I lie all the time. Nope, don't lie. I could show you a gun right now. Anyway, no lies. Anyway, so I get the house. A couple years after I bought the house, and everything is done, I'm on a fast. I'm looking out my front window. And the last thing I wanted to see was this. I'm looking at a community that's camouflaged into my property. Camouflaged into my property. I'm looking at this, and I even saw the way it went, which direction it went, which now is now a reality. But then I'm looking at it, and I'm standing there. I realize I'm seeing in the spirit. I said I'd been on a fast. I think it was just one of those long fasts. I don't remember what it was about. Anyway, it didn't matter. So I'm looking out my window. I see this community camouflaged into my property, and I'm staring at it. And again, the last thing I want is a community on my property. I got this property I just finished for me, for my family. So the last thing I want is people on it. But I'm appreciative when I realize I'm looking in the spirit, and this is God. And so I set that aside, thinking, okay, one day there'll be a community, I guess, on my property. Why they're on my property is beyond me. I didn't need the money. I'm trying to get anything from anybody. So it really threw me. And that was about 20 years ago. About somewhere around the age of 40. I don't know where I was. 57 now. So yeah, I think it was about 2000. It didn't matter. Last year, towards the end of the year, I'm starting to get a burden. And I'm feeling, what can I do for people? What can I do to help people with the property I have? Because I kept thinking, I have a lot. This 80 acres is just for me. And it's hitting me, and I'm feeling this isn't right. And it then comes back to me, this community type thing. This camouflaged community. So I call up, I'm speaking with a donor who has made most of this stuff happen, and I told him my heart. And he caught the vision. He said, what do you need? I said, well, I guess I need this. I kind of wrote a list down, came up to, and it started to become absolutely crazy. It became crazy. The list came up to something like $80,000. This is kind of what stuff costs, folks. I mean, and I know maybe some of you know how to live for free. I don't know how to live for free. Everything I'm aware of costs money, even though I'm supposed to give everything away, which is where some of you are going to, critique me. I'm going to get mad at some of you who want to critique what I've done and I've slaved over since the beginning of this year. It's never good enough. So this donor said, here's $100,000. And he gave it under the premise that I would seek reimbursement. That what I'm about to tell you, that people would, you're paying for what I'm going to show you. When I'm going to tell you what has been done. Now again, for some of you who know how to live for free, you let me know how that goes. Let me know how you do it. Even if you're in a nursing home, somebody's still paying for you to be there. Nothing is free, folks. In shelters, if you live in a shelter, if you live in a shelter, somebody's paying for the shelter. Now you may be mooching off it or living, or I'm not trying to pick on you really, but I'm telling you everything costs money. And if you folks know how to make it to where everything was free, just write down in the comments below and tell me how that works for you, how you do that. People want me to give the book for free. No printer's doing this for free. I've yet to find some. If you know somebody, let me know. Anyway, so he gave $100,000 under the premise of seeking reimbursement. I start at it, the beginning of the year. I start tearing up my beautiful property. Still bothers me a little bit because I know how much it meant to my wife. When she's seeing the trees come down, she's saying though that was the hummingbirds' homes. And there's been a lot of heartache because of this. Some family disturbances even a little bit because of this. My wife is still not, this is the greatest thing you've ever thought of, Steve. This has nothing to do with me. I get answer to God for this. I'm following my heart and a burden to help people I don't even know. Today, I don't know anyway. Understand, folks? You have to have a heart to want to do what you can for God. And just throwing faith sometimes even to the wind, just believing He's in it. And I did what I believed. I started landscaping, tearing down the bushes and the beautiful trees and destroying all of it. Coincidentally, the place the guy wanted to start landscaping, which we've already done, went right along the area that I saw the houses that were going to be. It was weird. Now, here's what's happened. We went and bought, which thank God these things are portable. That's a nice thing to have. Military. They're military tents. Very, very expensive. This is not your Kmart, Walmart, whatever kind of tent. Military tents to where are impermeable to infrared, biological, chemical weapons, warfare type. They're very nice. Yeah, you can't even see them infrared, which infrared can see into homes. Not these. This is the military tents. They range anywhere from 16 by 16 to 20 by 16, 20 by 32. Nice. And they will go along, and they're all green. They go right into the landscape. It's weird. They go right along this area that I was seeing. Where if I saw in the spirit, I want to have all this. I'm going to show you. This is what all costs $100K, folks, and more, which I'll tell you about a little more. Got extra water, put an extra cistern, double the amount of water that we can hold. Threw down at this propane tank, massive propane tank. We have little small propane tanks too, because we bought one of these things called. They're generators, the hybrids. Generators will do both gas and propane, and heating units, stoves for these tents, and got beds ranging full to queen size, all kinds of pillows and sleeping bags and places for people to take showers, hot water. Yeah, I don't know how to explain about these units to where they just put a propane tank on it and it runs hot water through it, and so you can take a shower, and toilet units and all this stuff. And food for days, not just days. If I fill this whole place up, there's a good 6 months of food. food's the big deal. And by the way, some of you thought, I even got for water, even radiation filters. Everything has been thought of. There's not one thing that's lacking when it comes to electricity. Electricity, we got generators, but those are only for basically standby because we have solar panels. I know how to, my whole home's on a solar panel system. So solar panels, anyway, this place is going to be a haven in comparison to being in a city. In fact, that was one of John Paul's prophecies. He said rural areas are going to become worth far more money. People are going to want to get out of the city. I would recommend get out of America like God said. God said, get out of America. He didn't say that. He said in a couple places in Jeremiah and Revelation, get out of Babylon. Personally, that's all this place is going to be. A temporary place of refuge for people that have no place to go. And you're not going to have food, and you're not going to have water. You may find some places, makeshift shelters or something like that. I don't know where these places are supposed to be. But where we reside, we're in like the dark part of America where there's not a lot of anybody or anything. I don't know where you're going to find it. You would not find a shelter around here. And if you're in major cities, I don't know, you're not going to want to be in a major city anyway. I even threw down a metal building, a 30 by 50 metal building. It's got cement on it. It's just nice. That's going to be an overflow as well as kind of like a church. And there will be church. There'll be round the clock prayer. And this place is going to have Christians. And only the people who God wants here. In fact, here's how the process is going to work. You can call in and you'll get a guy. You'll talk to a man, more than likely. This man will take your name and number if he believes you're serious. This is not free, folks, by the way. I know everybody wants everything for free. No, this place was built under the premise, again, as I told you, to seek reimbursement. Now, I'm going to stick with that because that's appropriate, just like everywhere else everybody lives. Though this is going to be a drop in the bucket. And if I filled the place up, and again, I'm not even going to get half of what I've put into it. And for those of you that want to complain, you tell me how much money you've thrown in. Have you thrown $50,000 in that you're not going to get back? Which is, I'm counting, there's at least about $60,000. If it fills up, I'm not going to get back. Now, there may be ways I can somehow make it work, but some of you, $60,000, $50,000, you wouldn't even have to even give $60, some of you, much as change around your property. So I'm already hear some of you thinking that you're going to charge. Yes. Unless some of you know how to make everything free, but I'm telling you, you tell me how you get your 100K and how you change it on your property and how you don't have to pay the money and all this other stuff. How did you do that? You let me know, okay? In fact, before I say any more, I took my own money, folks. When I say my own money that goes to, we take about $2,000 to live here a month. Okay, I don't know how much it costs you to live a month, but I don't have to pay rent or mortgage, which helps on a big portion. And we got our electricity down to practically at crawl because I told you we're on solar and all this stuff. I make it to where it doesn't cost us very much to live a month. And so when I sell the book on television and I sell this book, that money goes to pay my bills, my $2,000 a month bills. Now, we've been doing pretty good, and we've had extra money. And I've been taking that money. In fact, I've spent probably out of my own money, if you want to call my own salary money. This is what I do this is my living, folks. I've taken about $10,000 of my own money and still been buying more stuff past the $100,000 that this man gave. Again, some of you just want to pick. You tell me how much money you've done. Don't pick until you've been there and you know what it'll do to you. I'm about to spend whatever it was just a couple days ago, buying more food. I want people to be able to eat. Anyway, you'll call this number. You'll get a guy, he'll screen you. If everything seems legit, you then get passed on to my wife, who also screens you and has an ability to screen. She'll know, she'll sense something right or wrong or whatever, and you'll talk with her. If you pass the smell test with my wife, then I will call you back and we'll talk. And here's how it goes. We're going to want I'm going to want 1 month from you of what it costs of living. Not even that. Some of you don't spend more than this. I don't know how you even do it. I know we barely make it with $2,000 a month. I'm going to want $2,000 to secure 6 months worth of living. Okay? And that's nothing. Not a thing. For one person, $2,000. That will give you your bed. That will give you your food, your water, your shower, all this stuff. Again, the alternative is I don't know, find a bush or a shelter. You'll have a cot. Some places have some cots. They only have so many. $2,000 for one person, $1,500 for the next, $1,000 for the third, $500 for the fourth. So that's like a family of 4, and it needs to be a family. And you're going to love God and you're going to serve God because it's not about your money. I don't want your money. I want reimbursement as under the premise of what this was done under. And I will honor that. That's proper. So it's not about your money. I don't care how rich you are. I don't care who you are. It's about, do you love God and do you pass the smell test? You make it by me, then fine. I also realize some people love God and who don't have any money or have some money or whatever. I don't know how you're living. I mean, where you're living. So everywhere I live that I'm aware of costs money. All I'm asking for is 1 month basically for 6 months guaranteed. And I'll tell you something else. I'm leaving this place within a year. You will be welcome to stay, though I won't be able to guarantee provisions for a year. Not at this stage. Amazing offer, folks, as far as I'm concerned. Think of it as insurance that you probably pay already anyway. I will be gone within a year. You'll be welcome to stay and have this place. I won't want it anymore. I will be being led wherever God leads, and I know that's going to be the island somewhere. I just don't know where. And I need some of you to think that way too. You may not know where you're going. You may not even have a place to go. But you need to think the way that Jesus, again, did to the disciples, sent them out. Said, here, take your script, take your clothes on your back, go. I know some of you can't think that way at all, but if you find out the place you're staying anywhere is better than here, I'd leave. Anyway, you can stay past as long as you want. I won't be hanging around. For those of you who don't have any money, or you have some, as I started to say, again, I don't know how you're living, but you're welcome to put some towards it. If the place sells out, which I'm hoping by television, it's a bigger audience, then it's sold out. But if it doesn't sell out, then people who've put some money towards it, in the order and the amount that they put in, will provide for you. Does that make sense? I also know people aren't going to even have some money. They may not have even a dime to their name. I don't know how they're living. I don't know how you're even watching this. You've obviously got money on a device to watch it on. You got the internet to see it through. I don't know. I guess it's a matter of priorities where you want to put your money. But in the end, if somebody had no money and came here, if the place is filled up, it's filled up. If I can't help you, these people have already bought the food as far as I'm concerned. That's what you're doing. You're buying the food. Even though you're not even scratching the surface and what all this costs, you are buying this. It's like, if you say, want to buy this becomes yours. I'll give it to you. Just like what's happening. My property becomes yours. You want to keep it after I'm gone? Fine. But if you don't have any money and there's no more room at the inn, then there's no more room at the inn. Okay? That's it. The number is 733-3633, area code 719. Again, you're going to go through the process. You're going to go through a screening, and it's not about your money. And those of you who want to pick on me, I will ask you, what have you done? And I'll probably nail you. You're going to upset me. Because again, this is not your money. You go out and secure 100,000. You tell me what you did. I don't care how much. Secure 1,000 and tell me what you've done for other people that you don't even know. And then have no hope of getting it all back either. Let me know how it goes for you. That's why I've been burdened. I've felt burdened. And now it's a reality. What I saw in the Spirit is a reality. And it's there for people I don't know. For you, some of you, and a select few again.